Picture this, it's 2008 and you want to catch a movie from the comfort of your home without having to catch it on cable at a certain time. Remember that $8 Netflix subscription? Well, you'll have to wait at least 3 days for a movie to be shipped to you. And it sucks because your parents got you a Wii years back instead of an Xbox 360, so now you can't even stream Netflix. Or can you? Well, you can't because it's 2008, but in a couple of years it will become possible. Prior to 2010, Netflix had already been partnered with Sony and Microsoft for a few years now, allowing users of the Xbox 360 and PS3 the ability to stream movies right off their consoles with the Netflix app. This would change though, as in January of 2010, Nintendo would announce that they were partnering with Netflix so that the owners of their highest selling console at the time could watch movies, just like the big boys were doing for a couple of years now. Around this time, Netflix streaming would start to become something bigger than ever before. Watching movies became super easy for those that had a Netflix subscription and an internet connection. Own a computer? You can watch from there. Own an Xbox 360 or PS3? You can watch from there. Own a Roku box, Netflix enabled DVR, or smart TV? You can definitely watch from there. Own a Wii? Ooh, slow down there, buddy. You see, although it was a bit late to the party, the Wii was still able to join in on the fun. You just couldn't download the Netflix app like other consoles could. Instead, you had to resort to this baby. The Netflix Wii Disc. Bet you've never seen this before, and if you have, no you haven't. The Netflix Wii Disc was the only way for Wii users to watch Netflix up until October of 2010. The way the disc worked was that if you were an already paying customer of Netflix's subscription, the instant streaming disc could be reserved at no extra cost. Of course, the only way for the streaming disc to work was that you had to have your Wii connected to the internet. Remember what this logo was all about? So now, in modern times, if you were to insert the Netflix disc into your Wii, this is what happens. You're greeted with the Netflix jingle and an old Netflix logo. Very nostalgic though. And then you get this error message. Well, awesome, so now everything's working for the Wii's Netflix disc, but how great was it in retrospect? This very early version of streaming for the Wii was missing out on a few very important functions. The search bar, for one, seemed to have been absent, as the only way you were able to browse listings was based on genres and recommendations. On top of that, closed captioning was missing as well. If you were to watch a movie that wasn't in your native language, sometimes captioning would be burned straight into the movie. But other than that, there was no way to turn these captions off or on for that matter. And the biggest issue of them all, which probably wasn't really an issue, was the resolution that you would watch in. So keep in mind, this is 2010, and the Wii was only able to put out a max resolution of 480p. Here's a sample video in 1080p, and here it is in 480p. This meant that Netflix users with a Wii at the time were stuck watching their shows and movies in standard definition. Although it wouldn't really seem to be a big deal, at the time the Xbox 360, which had Netflix for a couple of years now, was able to stream in high definition. But what about the PS3? Well, because the PS3 had Blu-ray built into it, it was actually able to stream in 1080p, as long as the internet connection was fast enough. Although these other two consoles were capable of streaming high-def shows and movies, Reggie Fils-Aimé went on to say that Wii users weren't really missing out on much, as the vast majority of content through Netflix at the time wasn't HD. And it's kind of crazy to read that at the time, Steve Swayze of Netflix would actually support Reggie's argument on this, saying, PS3 and Xbox users have 1 in 17 titles available in HD. And it's streamed in 720, not in 1080. So the HD experience at Netflix Instant Watching isn't that overwhelming. It's a little bit underwhelming, so the Wii folks aren't going to miss that much. At this point, I think it's safe to say that Netflix coming to the Wii was more for the convenience of watching all these movies and shows. There were over 26 million families that had Wiis in their home at the time, and it's definitely safe to say that a lot of these families weren't caring about how clear their movies were coming out on their TV. The Wii disc technically only lasted up until October 2010, as after that you were able to download the Netflix channel straight from the Wii shop. Netflix and Nintendo would continue the service up until 2019, as the need for the app had been passed on to the 3DS and Wii U, which have also been discontinued, but yeah, now this disc is useless.